On today's special episode of Homeworthy, we're taking you inside 6 beautifully decorated apartments handpicked by our editors. From clever DIY projects to flea market finds, these tastemakers offer great inspiration for how you can transform your apartment into a chic and super stylish home. Enjoy! You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Be sure to visit homeworthy.com to discover amazing furniture, art, accessories, and more, all handpicked by our editors to help transform your house into a home. All of the items are inspired by the episodes you see here on Homeworthy. Enjoy!
Let's enter into the living room, 2 steps away. So here, this is my Mario Bellini sofa that is a reproduction, and I really loved the look of this sofa that just juxtaposes against the traditional molding, a really modern type of feel. I love that it's also a sectional and you can move these pieces around and it can actually grow with me. So if I move to a larger space one day, I can add more units, which is really great. And even yesterday, when I put up this tapestry, we had to move the units around to frame the tapestry well. So the Mario Bellini sofa, I'm obsessed with. Yes, it is comfortable and it's fantastic to even nap on. Short ones though. So these pillows are actually from the House of Hackney, and they were 1 pillow altogether. So you'll actually see that the pattern is supposed to match up, but I split it into 2 because I needed 2 lumbar pillows that were smaller to fit in this space. And I actually pulled tassels from another pillow to put them together. So you'll see one is actually black and one is teal, but whatever, it makes it a little funky. It's a lot of fun, and I just love that it truly fits into my space now because I split it into 2. So then, flanking this whole area and the star of this side is my tapestry. And I found this tapestry on First Dibs. I really wanted something that was long in length. Because my sofa is so low to the ground, it seems a little awkward to have something just up on top. And so I wanted something to hang actually past the chair rail molding and tuck behind the sofa. It makes it feel really intentional and really covers this vertical space really well. And the top of the tapestry, we actually worked with Maison by Max, who is local to New York City, and he sourced the hardware for me. And the ends of it really remind me of the fleur de lis, which is obviously very French. So both of my shelves in my living room were also sourced from Facebook Marketplace. I was carrying this actually from across the street. I looked pretty silly probably, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. So on this side, I have a couple of plants because this is where the light comes in. I also have this miniature painting from Peyton Cramp, and I actually have a larger one downstairs, but it's kind of nice to just have a little piece of art on the wall behind your shelves to add that height. And on top here, I have a bunch of little pieces of paper that are framed, and it is from an Adele concert where at the end confetti flew everywhere, and when I picked it up, it actually was phrases and lyrics from her songs. So I love that so much, I put it into a frame. Recently, I really wanted to start playing piano again as my form of meditation. Again, Facebook Marketplace, found this piano, and I love that digital pianos are now so wonderful and they feel so realistic. So I sourced this Yamaha digital piano and currently learning a piece from Amelie, the movie. And as we move up, this is the most prized possession in my apartment. This is the very first piece of art that I've ever commissioned, and it is from Michael Mapes. It's a collection of photographs, and it all compiles to be a picture of Marie Antoinette. So I mentioned that my housewarming party was Marie Antoinette themed, and this is what I wanted to create out of it to continue that theme. And what's really fantastic about commissioning art is that you can ask the artist to put in images of what you want. So in there's a picture of me, my mom, my grandfather, and my grandmother as well. And then all the way at the top here, I sourced this federal mirror that is convex from upstate in Hudson. And I love to go thrifting, and this was something I always wanted to get for my apartment. Found it in a nifty little thrift store and got it for like 35 bucks. So on my coffee table, what I really love about this is that there is a little pocket for my records, because I have a record player and I could put my records in here. Showcasing right now, we have Tupac to represent my West Coast background. But always have a candle lit. And what's really fantastic about these flowers, they're actually from ethereal blooms in the UK. They're preserved. These have been alive or look like this for 6 months. And this is my floral hack, is to get preserved arrangements that look like an arrangement. And people always ask me like, how long have you had this? Or do you keep on refreshing your flowers? They're actually preserved and they'll last for a year. I also am obsessed with rechargeable lights. I hate cords, and so getting rechargeable lights like this that can just sit on top of my coffee table and any place that I want to put it is really fantastic. So on this side, I have this print from Minted that was gifted to me by my friend for my housewarming. It's a photograph of Parisian apartments, and she and I used to live in Paris at the same time as expats for L'Oreal. So this was a great reminder of that time, as well as my dear friend who gifted it to me. And then over here, we have a custom fabricated marble side table. I actually went to a remnant yard and fabricated 2 pieces, my kitchen tabletop as well as this side table, just to have things fit into my space and size it exactly at the height and size that I needed for underneath this area. So this is not a working fireplace. It actually was marketed to be on the listing, but when we found out at the end of the day, it wasn't. My architect, J7 Designs, actually came up with a really great solution. Inside, we actually put a bioethanol fireplace insert instead, and so it's ventless, and you can have that cozy fireplace vibe without the soot and the wood and all of these other things that you would need for a wood burning fireplace. So I get those cozy vibes without all of the dirt, which is actually better for me. So during the spring and summer months, I actually like to style my fireplace with dried flowers and preserved flowers and real flowers as well, because it just helps to liven up this black box in the middle of the room. So right now there's florals in there, but obviously these will get taken out in the fall and winter when I actually get to use the fireplace. And the star of the show on this side is my antique mirror. So I found this mirror on Instagram from an account called Euro Mobilier. And they were fantastic, and I spoke to Olivier in French to get it delivered to my friend in France, in Paris, who then helped me get it delivered to here in New York. So we actually shipped this and a couple of other pieces over together, and I'm so happy that I finally got my antique mirror. I'd always wanted one when I was living in Paris. At that time, I couldn't afford it, so I finally was able to get one now, and I'm so happy that I have it.
Here we are in my bedroom where I have everything blue. I wanted my bedroom to feel very me, and my favorite color is blue. So like I said, this is where I splurged. I think something about these custom monogram pillows is just like so luxury. You always see it in those really fancy homes on the Homeworthy channel, I'm sure. And so these are from Etsy, and they were hand embroidered in India. You can pick your color, you can pick your initials, and I am just obsessed. I think they just tie everything together. They make it feel so fancy and fun. Yeah, it's a king size bed. So you wanna make sure that your pillows are really like full and supple. I hate that word, but like you wanna make sure that your pillows are really filling up your bed. I use 2 king size kind of standard pillows behind. And then when it comes to a king, if you have a queen, you don't need to do this and it probably won't fit. You're gonna wanna do 3 Euro shams with your king, and that way it feels really full and fancy and kind of extra. And then doing a couple throw pillows in front just to add a little something something. So this color on the wall is Benjamin Moore Iceberg. It's definitely my go-to blue because it's almost bordering on a neutral. I feel like when it comes to picking out colors, it's really easy to be like, go for the really saturated, fun ones. But I think picking colors that are basically an off gray or an off white is what you really want to do. So this is kind of an off blue, Benjamin Moore Iceberg. I ended up ordering these molding pieces from Amazon and just painting them the same color, and then you just stick them on the wall with command strips and you get this kind of like fancy molding look. So all of these images are from the public domain, and that essentially means that they're really, really affordable. You just go on Google and you type in public domain artwork and then whatever you want. Maybe you want like a vintage tiger or botanical drawing. And up will pop different libraries of public domain images, which means they're copyright free and anyone can download them and anyone can have access to them. So you download your image and then just get it printed. I get mine printed at FedEx, and I think for all of these it was just $3. Very, very affordable way to get really fun artwork that feels like just like what you want. You are just the best little boy in the world, yeah. This bureau, my parents had hand painted for me by like a family friend when I was a baby, and so it was in my room as a baby, and then kind of like the pink couch, it came with me to my first apartment in New York and just stayed with me ever since. So she has seen the best of times, the worst of times. She looks like a little baby chest, but I can't get rid of her. And now she's housing all of my husband's boxers and socks, and I think that's hilarious. So I love her. She's, you know, exquisite, and one day hopefully we'll have a kid and it'll go in the kids' nursery. So this wall here is my little gallery wall. I have a million gallery walls throughout this apartment. And this one is really fun because this is my frame TV. I decided to build off of it to create a look that didn't really feel like a TV. I never had a TV in my bedroom growing up, and I always felt like it was kind of a bad thing, kind of a guilty thing, a little guilty pleasure. So I wanted to conceal it a little bit. So I added in a bunch of just my artwork and printed it out from FedEx, so cheap, like everything in this apartment, super budget. And then just got the frames on Amazon, created this kind of vignette over here. Here, I like having this console table underneath. I like to hide my cords as best as I can. So what I did here was I have all of my kind of blue and white stuff here, and I have this pot, and I ended up putting the cord, I kind of hid the cord inside of the pot, and I think if you have access to a pot, there you go. This is Target, very, very, very cheap, but you know, kind of has that elevated look, kind of like that burlwood look. This is just a piece that I got in Palm Beach. Really cute Italian. I love lettuceware. I hadn't seen that color, so I had to spring on that. And then I love blue and white chinoiserie. Big fan of that, and I like to put it all together to create kind of the biggest pop. And yeah, I really love symmetry. And again, when you're talking about doing things on a budget, like easy ways to make things feel well designed is to focus on symmetry. So this is all extremely cheap stuff. And I took these two kind of column dressers and put them on either side of the window to create a symmetrical feeling. And then this dresser was just a hand-me-down from my friend who's also a designer, and it came from Atlanta. Beautiful piece. That's the thing, I feel like when you're friends with designers and people that are into artwork, it's good to just kind of switch off your stuff because you get sick of things. Someone else is gonna like it and appreciate it if it's a good quality item. And then this is our little like wedding shrine. I felt like I needed a little place to put all the stuff from our wedding. I'm still wanna like relive it every single day. So we have our little chest here, which is so beautiful and has our new initials on it. And then I feel like if you've gotten married or you're excited to get married, you understand this, like you just wanna keep reliving it and preserving all your stuff and showing it off. And this trunk is really nice because you can shut it or you can kind of have it out on display. So welcome to the smallest room in my apartment, but also my favorite room. This is my bathroom, and when we were designing the space, I knew that I wanted this room to just feel like my zen escape. I wanted it to feel like I was in a spa. I wanted it to be like the most relaxing room in the whole world. And I really achieved that. It's my favorite place in the world. Like I would rather be here than out at a bar, restaurant, whatever. This is my safe space. Essentially, this was the second largest project that we had to work on in the apartment. We ended up having to take out, there was a really old tub. There's a very strange little built-in wall trash can that was fully non-functional. I don't know, I think it's like a thing in these apartments. So we took that out. So I love the look of a slab shower where it's just one big block of marble. I think that's so fancy. And I wanted to achieve a look like that, but on a budget. So what we did was these marble tiles, they are Carrara marble and they are really large scale, so they kind of achieve a look that feels a little bit like that, but of course at a fraction of the price. And this room has just become my Zen room. I love it. We did a classic basket weave on the floor. I really wanted something that was going to feel old and kind of in reference to the age of the space, but also just feel classic and timeless. For this one, I wanted something that felt a little bit more glamorous, a little more feminine, refined, so I went with a polished nickel, and I'm really happy I did that because I have brass in a lot of areas of my house, but this feels very fancy and unique to my bathroom, and I'm really happy I made that decision.
I'm located in a high-rise 2-bedroom apartment, 2-bath. We're in about 1,140 square feet. I'm an interior designer and I've been designing for about 6 years now, and I developed this career path from hobby turned career. I've always had an interest in design. I initially went to college for fashion merchandising, so I've always been a creative, and when I purchased my first home, I had so much fun designing the space, and people took to it and, you know, commended me for doing such an amazing job. So I decided to turn that hobby, designing my own space, into a full-fledged career. Sharing space with a teen is not easy. However, in this age, they are 100% committed to their room. So that's the good thing. For the most part, my daughter is in her room, either doing homework, listening to music. She has a cute little desk space where she's able to do that, as well as her love of makeup. So at this age, she's more so confined to the room. It was very important in my apartment space, because it's a little on the smaller side in our common area, to not only have seating where we're able to watch television, but also a space where we can combine and come together and have dinner. So within the little space, I was able to bring in our seating and our dining experience in one, so that when she comes out of the room, we can actually, you know, have some mom and daughter time. As you enter my apartment space, you first have this foyer, which is a collection of things that I love. A beautiful canvas art piece and a statement wallpaper, which is a wow as soon as you enter the apartment space. I also have a basket here because I don't want people having on their shoes as they, you know, walk through the space. So I think this is functional and goes really well with the design. So I grew up in North Philadelphia. I came from a single parent home. My mom didn't have much when she was raising her 3 girls. However, she always made our space feel comfortable and very much home-like. So it was with that family upbringing and how I was raised, which made me hone in on the true vision of my business. With Remix Living, we believe that everyone can have access to amazing interior design, no matter what the budget looks like. And a lot of that came from my upbringing as a child. Let me take you guys over to my bar area. Creating a vibe in my apartment space, I love to be able to entertain my guests when they come over. So I wanted to create a cute little bar corner that highlights the things I love. Being able to relax, being able to have a cocktail when needed after a long day of work. So we have some really cute bar accessories. We have these really nice decanters with a brass top. We have a full set of that. I love wood tones and I like to pair it in my space when I have the opportunity. So again, brass paired with wood, a nice shaker to mix up our cocktails purchased at Home Goods. We have all of the essentials to make a good cocktail and to entertain our guests. So I would definitely suggest that if you are on a budget and you're looking for really nice things, Home Goods and Amazon, as well as our studio, are definitely stores you can shop to find beautiful items at the lower cost. I know that some people are afraid to shop these stores sometimes because, you know, you want things that stand apart, but when you have a lower price point that you're shopping with, these are great retailers that can provide you with amazing product to elevate your space. Let me walk you guys into my main living space. right? So we're in a small apartment, so we want to be able to maximize the use of the space. So we have the living and dining space kind of combined. It was very important to me that I brung in this space very cozy elements. I love patterns, I love different textures, and I'm not afraid to layer. So we first start off with continuing this beautiful statement wallpaper throughout the apartment space. I wanted to bring in some layers onto the walls. I love brass, as you guys can see. I have it all over my bar area. So I brought in these beautiful brass shelves from CB2, highlighting just some of my family moments on those shelves. In my living room space, I have a beautiful patterned rug with an overlapping hide rug on the floor. And also, it was very important for me in this apartment space to add in some additional artificial light, right? Because I have beautiful windows that bring in a ton of sunlight, but at night I needed more artificial light. So we decided to add in a beautiful ceiling light. Don't be discouraged that because you're in an apartment space, you can't add in additional lighting. You know, we can't hardwire, but we're able to get a beautiful pendant in the ceiling and just run additional wires and such. A good electrician can achieve the look for you. So my sofa, I wanted a very dark sofa. The sofa is beautiful in design. The channeling along the back of the sofa, again, I love to layer. So the beautiful shag throw paired with textured statement pillows just adds that piece of luxury feel to the apartment space. In front of our sofa, we didn't want to do a big bulky cocktail table because it's, you know, not a huge space. So I did a sleeker cocktail table design and added some statement accessories that I thought were very appealing, eye-catching, and aesthetically pleasing. No, I'm not a chess player, but I thought it was beautiful. So I added in this beautiful chess set paired with a good fashion book, of course a good candle, and some coasters for when we entertain our guests. We didn't really want to take up too much floor space with the cabinet or anything underneath the television. So what I decided to do was pair and style a lot of beautiful accessories that I love underneath my television. So a collection of books that I enjoy. Of course, bringing greenery into a space always makes it feel bright and airy. A picture of my daughter that I enjoy, of course, again paired with some home decor books. A patterned concrete stool to again tie in the pattern appeal that I like to flow through my apartment space. I would say that my personal design aesthetic is an eclectic style mixed with maximalist. I am very much a maximalist. I like to mix patterns. I like to mix prints. I'm not afraid to play with color, and I'm not afraid to combine different elements. So I would very much say I'm a maximalist. I like eclectic pieces, and I like to tie it all in cohesively and have each piece speak to each other. What I love the most about my home are the light hardwood floors, the large windows, which bring in a ton of natural light. I love that essentially, even though it's a small space, me and my daughter have our own kind of corridors in the apartment space. So, you know, when she needs her time to herself, she's able to do so. And when I need my time to myself, I'm able to achieve that as well. And then when we want to come together, we come together in the common area. So even though it's a smaller space, I've been able to maximize the design as well as create functionality for us both. So let's transition to this little dining nook that I've created within our living room space. So nothing too big, you know, very small, just a nice round table paired by two beautifully hourglass chairs, a collection of books again, because we know that I love to have books throughout my apartment to, you know, just add that additional piece of inspiration. Tie into the wallpaper continuing through the apartment space. I love textures. So we have these seagrass wall fans on the wall. Again, very affordable item. And then elements to just tie in this whole maximalist look with a lot of layering and a lot of textures. So we have these branches coming out of the vase and more books and greenery that we love in the space. In this dining space, I decided to bring in a faux marble dining table because I love the look of this, but you know, marble can be very expensive. What I decided to, you know, pay more money on for this table to kind of elevate the design was the dining chairs. I decided to purchase these beautiful dining chairs from Nuevo. Yes, they were a little on the pricier side, but I felt like it just elevated the look. Let me take you guys into my bedroom space. Welcome to my bedroom, my favorite space in my apartment. I know in the main area, I went for more of a darker vibe, but in my bedroom, I really wanted to experience a relaxing retreat-like feel. So I went with more of a Bohemian vibe to experience cream tones, light textures, very airy things, right? So the first thing that I love in my bedroom is my massive headboard, which takes almost the full scale of the wall, right? Paired with this beautiful abstract wallpaper that is perfect together. In my bedroom space, I decided not to go super bold with the wallpaper and wallpaper all of the walls, but just act with an accent wall behind my bed. I love the way this turned out. One of the challenges with a small apartment space is not having a ton of storage. So what I decided to do was put my collection of hats on the wall and create like an art design with it. Do I wear all of these hats? I absolutely do. They're very consistent in a lot of my wardrobe, but it's also a great way to kind of highlight my style and my space, which I thought was genius. Underneath the hats is my shoe collection as well. Do I have a favorite pair of shoes? I don't have a favorite pair. I love them all the same. It just depends on my mood for the day and how I'm feeling with my outfit look. Another thing that I love in my bedroom space is this beautiful desk. The desk holds a lot of the accessories that I use on a daily. Of course, I wanted to bring in some greenery, and you guys know I love texture from the living room space. So this beautiful vase, and also I love this oversized piece of artwork from a vendor called Uttermost that showcases this Bohemian princess vibe that I am trying to achieve in this room. I love patterns and prints. I think you all get the gist of that from filtering through my living room space. So it was very important for me to bring in a print and a vibe in my bedroom, but something a little more subtle and not as loud. So that's where the beautiful, you know, light colored cheetah print chair comes in. Again, I wanted my space to feel very airy, light, flowy. So I wanted to bring in a beautiful linen curtain. Again, very flowy, Amazon find. I think this look just elevates the space. DIY is tricky. I mean, it's definitely a service that is more attainable than having a designer full time, but you have to be willing to do the work. People don't realize how, you know, it can really be tough when you're trying to design a space, ordering all the materials, putting all the stuff together. So as long as you're willing to commit to the common goal to bring the space together and make it functionable for yourself, I definitely think DIY is affordable and attainable to all. You have to be willing to put in the time. Welcome to my daughter's space. For her room, I let her guide me into the color palette and things that she loved to incorporate into the space. So we decided to do like lighter pink blush tones in the room. Of course, every teenager loves LED lights, so we had to incorporate that in the design. a beautiful, relaxing marble wallpaper mixed into those blush tones. The space is very girly, very fun, and reflects her style and her personality. We brought in this oversized, it looks oversized, right? But it's only a full-size bed. But because we're in an apartment space and don't have a lot of closet space, we had to bring in something that had storage on it. So around the perimeter of the bed, you can lift up these panels and there's storage underneath, which was a must with her room. For her room, I decided to bring in this full-length retro framed mirror with different layers of the pink. The word home means to me a place that you can come in, relax, reset, and just enjoy a vibe. You know, as a full-time entrepreneur, we work so much, and I wanted my home to reflect things that I love, things that I enjoy, and things that I want to experience on a daily. Unfortunately, we don't get to travel too often sometimes when we are all in our business to experience inspirational things. So I wanted to bring that into my home, and that was very important to me.
So now we're gonna come into my bedroom. This is one of my favorite rooms. It's probably my favorite room in the house just because it is so bright. Our rooms, that one, the Amazon warehouse, and this room are really good sized rooms. I had really wanted a king. And so I was really lucky that we could fit a king in here and have plenty of space around it. Yeah, so this is my favorite New Yorker cover that my dad got me for Christmas last year. It's a pissed off Frenchie with shoes on. How more New York can you get? So I wanted this space to be a little bit more traditional and just super tranquil, relaxing, girly, soft, softer than the living room. And I stuck with a lot of white. I really didn't paint much. I painted the bathroom, but I really liked the white backdrop of everything because I do use, a decent amount of color. So I kept everything white, bedding white, furniture white. But it is just, I love coming in here at night. It's just relaxes me. Unfortunately, reality of New York City living is the AC unit that, we'll just pretend is not there. But yeah, here's where I get ready. I love the light in here. For whatever reason, this is the brightest room, even though the windows are the same in every room. This is some art from some local people in North Carolina, and always love fresh flowers everywhere. My bodega has really good flowers, so I'm lucky that I have that a step away. My fig does pretty well in here. It got stage fright and dropped some leaves the past couple days, and I have no idea why, so that was a bummer, but she's still hanging in there. She doesn't have a name. Maybe I should name, maybe that's what she's pissed about, I don't know. So these pillows are Laura Park Designs, which I think she's out of North Carolina actually, but I wanted to keep the bedding really simple. We're not tons of throw pillows kind of people. I just wanted to be able to take a couple pillows off and crawl into bed. So these, make a big impact without, having to do too much work making the bed and unmaking the bed. And then just, an easy quilt, some art. I love this light fixture. It's kind of a dupe of a really expensive one. This one's from Home Depot. But I was really excited to find that, and getting it up was a little bit difficult. My super said some words that I don't think I'm allowed to stay here, but yeah, it was worth it because I do love it. So this is a print from Reagan Corbett out of, I think she's in Dallas as well, but I love it so much. It's, smoking's not cool, but this picture is a vibe. So my sense of design, I was trying to think about this question yesterday, and it's kind of hard to answer. I've changed so much. I've gone through, I think we were all in the boho stage a couple, years ago. And then there's the mid-century, I have gone through a bunch of different decor styles throughout the years, as I'm sure everybody has, but I just lately have just been buying things that make me smile. Like if I see it online and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's cute, it makes me happy, I buy it, and it's all kind of just come together nicely, thankfully. I think eclectic might be a word. Definitely modern, but also some traditional elements I like. It's girly, as you can see, it's very girly, and luckily my husband is okay with that. It's a lot of pink, I know, and it'd probably be too much for some husbands, but he's happy with it and, you know, has no complaints about that. But yeah, just happy, I think, is the number one word I would use. It just like makes me smile and hopefully makes other people smile.
Now we're gonna go into the main room in the apartment, which is the living room. And so if you follow me in this way, you can see the gallery wall that we've done here above this modular sofa, which is a funny story. I had two parts of it in my studio that I lived in before in the village. And when we moved into this space, I didn't want to get a new couch because I loved it so much, but I was able to get the other pieces and fit it in. So I imagine I'll probably do the same thing with my next space. Maybe it'll just keep getting longer, I don't know. It is actually extremely comfortable, and I'd seen it in a million photos and I was a little nervous to pull the trigger on it, but we love it. And all you have to do is get these hooks so you connect each piece and then they don't separate when you sit on it. And then I have some decorative throw pillows here. And then above we have the gallery wall. This is actually a portrait that, or not even a poster that my boyfriend found on the subway. And Monk is one of our favorite artists. This is actually on our Samsung frame TV here. We have the wallpaper by Monk. And then, so he found this on the subway and we actually got it framed. He is a big fan of Cleon Peterson, so we have a few of his prints there. The centerpiece here is a photograph that my boyfriend actually took, and he did some photoshopping technique to it, and then we printed it. Above that, we have a painting by Laura Bell Swarovski, and then next to it is a take on Vermeer's Girl with the Pearl Earring that was painted by a friend of mine from high school named Lindsay Basil. So obviously there's a lot going on in terms of the walls here. They're really covered in art. That's something that I love. And I think the way to do it is, first of all, not be afraid that things won't go together if they're from different time periods, different styles, different mediums, and also really play with the framing. And so I laid this out on my floor, went through so many different variations of it. I'm like still not happy with it at some points, and I have moved it around. So I would call it an influx gallery wall. But I would say don't be afraid of creating something like this. It's challenging, but it's really rewarding. There was no overhead light in this space. And so something that you can do, which is also renter friendly, is get a swag light, which plugs into an outlet. And then all you have to do is get hooks from your local hardware store and drape it. And then there you go. You have a pendant light in the middle of your living room. And this light is from the 70s. It's smoked lucite, very space age. And it was done by Paul Sagan, who was one of the co-founders of Pottery Barn. So over here is kind of a continuation of that gallery wall. There are some photographs that I actually took, and then two lithographs that my parents had from their parents. And then another print here by Jake Wood Evans of the Three Graces, very like Renaissance inspired. And in order to create this and not detract from having a TV in the middle, we just kept the black and white theme going here, and then brought in really nice metallic elements with the frames. Rules when it comes to framing. I think that if you're going to obviously create a gallery wall, you do have to think about it all together, but really whatever works with the piece, and if a frame just speaks to you, go for it. I think getting a mat is really important, but if you go to your local framer, they should definitely know how to help you. So these pieces, I love mixing like gold and silver, and some people are really scared of that. These are in their original frames and they have like a bit of a patina to them, so I kept that. This was in a white frame and I never changed it. And these were actually displayed very differently I've been in 4 different apartments in New York, and I had a whole wall of just these black and white photos, and my mom actually originally framed them for me, and she chose gold, silver, and then the rest she did in black and white. And so yeah, I just fit them together the way that I thought they looked best, putting certain ones next to each other and spacing it out in the right way to not make it feel like it clashed. And then here I have this vintage book stand. We watch a lot of movies, and this is a coffee table book from the Criterion Collection, which shows a bunch of their films. And so, we obviously fall subject to the hour scrolling, trying to decide on a movie to watch, but this was meant to help us sort of pick a movie without having to do that. And then we live near a bunch of independent movie theaters, and so this is something that I feel like speaks to the area as well. So I call this area of my living room the bar area, and obviously because there's a bar here. And I think when you're living in an apartment in the city, some things you have to think about are, storage, space-saving solutions, and obviously style. Those are all S's. I actually just came up with that. And this bar really fits that perfectly because the height of the back bar here lets me display a lot of my cocktail glassware, and it's also narrow enough that it doesn't take up too much of the living room space. And the funny story about this is I purchased it from a seller on First Dibs who had sourced it from Miami in the 50s, I believe. There's this really cool woodwork here and then bamboo texture. And we happened to be up near where the seller was in Connecticut. And so we actually stopped by her home and met her, saw all the other pieces that she was collecting and selling, and then ended up being able to take it back in my car. And so it was really, really cool to be able to meet the person selling us the piece and hear the story about it, hear more about her and how she collects. And I also love that, like, my boyfriend and I picked out this piece together. So it, fits the space really well. And then looking at some of the pieces on the bar, it's obvious it's also very precarious, so I have to be careful when I walk behind it. I sourced this vintage Gucci glassware, which is a splurge, but well worth it, from this antique show in East Hampton. So there are these tumblers, and they come in these little cozies that are supposed to keep the drink cold or warm, and it came with a thermos as well. And this print is so 60s and 70s. Absolutely love it. How to keep it somewhere where everyone could see it. And then just have a bunch of other vintage glassware throughout and some other random objects. Like this was from the hood of some car. And I think I found this at Melee Mercantile, which is a really great vintage store. Have some books on entertaining here. I have these little mezcal shot glasses from my most recent trip to Mexico City. So again, just really mixing everything. And then, of course, the practical things like liquor to make drinks. Oh my God, so they are actually coolers for a bottle of Veuve. And I got those on eBay. And obviously keeping in the theme that I love art, one is a tube of paint and one is a pencil. So they're fun and quirky. This was from my boyfriend's childhood bedroom, this smoking, it's called Smoking Labbit, not rabbit. And then this is a melting disco ball that was made by Kelly Worsler in collaboration with another design firm. And so because of that, we call this our disco tiki bar. So obviously the space is already tight here, but we did need a side table for the couch. And so something fun I found was this Milo Bogman table that actually is tiered and has this moving piece here. I love flowers. I grew up with my mom always having flowers in the house. And so, Allison, before you came, I had to go to the florist and always a big display here, something tall that leads up, brings your eye up to this painting we have by Mark Majori, who's an artist that my boyfriend found and who I really love. And then just from Home Depot got this museum style art light that helps illuminate it. And so we have this little moment here. And then I actually have some vintage architectural digests that I got from my friend's store called Shop Abode on Elizabeth Street. And so again, another nod to my love of interior design. And one of my most prized possessions actually is one of my favorite artists, Yoshimoto Nara. This is an ashtray that no one is allowed to use and is just for display purposes. It says "Too Young to Die," which is like a little sinister, but there's something about the characters that he creates that I just feel like I have this connection to. They're tiny and angsty, and I don't know, something about it I love. And so one of my art pieces here, and I actually got it on eBay. I don't know how much I paid for it, maybe $100, and they resell for maybe like 10 times that now. So cool investment, and that's why nobody's able to use it.
People think this is a pantry. It's not, unfortunately. This is where all of our tools are. My fiance is a real estate investor, but while he's here in New York City, he is a handyman. So I lost out on all this closet space for tools, but it's great because I do so many DIYs and he helps me, and we rarely have to buy anything new. I am from England, the southeast of England, and I came here to help my cousin and babysit her kids because her nanny was leaving, and she was begging me for like a year, and I was like, no, why would I do that? I don't want to babysit kids. But I thought it would be a great experience. So I thought I was coming here temporarily, maybe a year max, and I ended up staying for, it's now 11 and a half years. I wanted more money, first of all. So she was paying me a little bit, but I wanted more money. So I found a job in a bar, made great money working in bars, met so many friends, met my fiance, and this is just now where my life is, and I could not imagine living anywhere else. Like, I just love this city so much. It's my favorite place in the world. Living in a small space is not easy, but after doing it for so long, I've lived here for 11 years and I've always been in small spaces. And I've learned, which no one wants to hear, is that you cannot keep all of the things that you want. You have to live minimally. I don't own that many clothes or beauty products. If I don't use it, I don't keep it. Even when it comes to decorating and decor, if I don't like something anymore, I'll sell it on Facebook Marketplace because I just don't have the room to keep it. But staying organized, yes, it's hard. I store a lot of things under my bed and under this futon. So in small spaces, always buy furniture with height and maybe drawer space. If you're gonna get nightstands, don't just get a table, get something with drawers or just some type of storage involved. It's all about using multi-purpose furniture. I hide everything in every nook and cranny that I can find. Welcome to our bedroom. This is our brightest room in the apartment because we have these two big windows, and I have framed them with floor to ceiling length curtains to really accentuate the height in here and make it feel more elegant. And then I have them pooling on the floor as well because I think it looks romantic. Over here is our dresser. I've had this for so long, but this holds all of Martin's clothes. He has a few pieces in the closet, but that's mainly for my stuff. And then on this wall again is the framed brick square. Behind me is where we keep our laundry and just like hoodies on hooks and stuff. It's really boring. Coming over this way is my little vanity nook. This is where I do my makeup every single morning or most mornings. And then I have this big olive tree here to kind of keep, kind of separate it. And then the pendant light as well above. It's just a plug-in, but it helps ground the space as its own. A lot of people ask me about the shelf on the radiator. We don't turn this radiator on because this apartment gets so hot with the heat on, so it's just off all the time, which means I can lean that shelf right there, and that's obviously where my makeup is. behind this frame is our AC unit. Da, da, da. It's actually a really attractive air conditioner unit, but I just still think this looks better. We don't take our air conditioners out in the wintertime because we just have nowhere to store them and it's such a hassle, so we just leave them in there, and I cover it with a frame. On these windows, I have put black electrical tape to make it look like the grid paneled window. I don't know if you can tell, but I think it looks quite good. I loved that little hack. It was like the cheapest hack I've ever done. And then I have done a few DIYs in here because I'm all about budget friendly. These pendant lights, I have copied ones that are ceramic on Etsy, but these are just made out of literally card, paper and spackling, and I have battery operated light bulbs. I have a remote for them, but they also have a little switch and they can go dimmer if you want. I think that's so cute. And then the nightstands too are a DIY. I used the IKEA Tava nightstand, stained it black, and then I built the frame and stapled in the cane and attached the hinges to make a door. This wall paneling on in most of the rooms in our apartment. It's also in the hallway and in the living room, and I just think it's such a nice way to add some visual interest without having to do too much, because I do like an effortless, relaxed look, and I didn't want to go crazy with big pieces of bold art or gallery walls. I just wanted something subtle, and I just think it adds just enough. This is my closet, and some of Martin's stuff is in here too. It's very small. It's the only place we have to keep our clothes. In the top ones, we keep our suitcases, which at the moment has all of our summer clothes in, and then when it becomes the summertime, I put all of my winter clothes up there because we just don't have enough space. From the bedroom, we're gonna walk back through the kitchen, down the hallway into our little movie room. So this is our little movie room. It is our living room, but we call it our movie room because we don't really come in here until the evening. It's so tiny, you can't really gather in here. It's very much just we're in here to watch TV. Again, I have the paneling on the wall because I didn't want a blank wall. I wanted something visually interesting, but I didn't want anything too bold, and I love how this came out. Again, Martin came through and helped me on that. In this corner over here, I thought it was the perfect opportunity for a pedestal, and Martin made that out of wood and I spackled over it. And then I wanted something with height to kind of help this room feel a little bit bigger and taller. I'm always trying to work vertically and use like the height of our room. So I wanted something green because I think greenery just adds so much freshness and life to a space. However, nothing would stay alive here. So I've made this out of real branches and fake artificial leaves. And I really like how it came out. I think it looks cute. I just used a glue gun to attach the fake leaves to these branches. I had to actually stick two branches together because I took a branch from my grandparents' yard. They live upstate, and when I got back I was like, no, this isn't big enough. So then I went to Central Park, and this sounds really weird, but I know exactly where to look for branches. So I'm just walking through Central Park with my branches, and yeah, so now these are two branches kind of glue gunned together to make it extra tall. I have a dresser here because they are just the best for more storage, and in here we keep our extra linens. Actually in this top drawer is like our laptops and chargers and just like printer paper. I have to show you where the printer is actually. You're gonna laugh. And this is vintage from Apartment Deco. I think that's how you say it. It's Apt Deco. And then above I have this piece of artwork, but I don't know if you can call it artwork because I made it myself out of Amazon boxes and paint mixed with baking soda, which gives you that texture. And then I just found some like wood to frame it in, frame it from Home Depot.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to visit homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.